have 2 core blocks, a bolster, that might be a large bolster, a blanket, a chair, and we're starting in Baddha Konasana. So typically we want to sit on some kind of support because when we bring the feet together, we want those knees in line with the hips. Now the hips, well, I would say in order to make this in line, meaning the knee is in line with the hip, you need to elevate your buttocks. So sit on a thick Mexican blanket. And that'll do the trick. So I don't need any more height. But what you'll find is, so you need to sit higher. You need to sit on a cork block. Okay, yeah. You need to elevate the hips and buttocks so that those knees are way up high like so. So this is where the knees are way too high. So in order for me to help those knees to drop, I can sit higher. Like that? Exactly, much better. Much better. And then make sure that that strap is tight. It's underneath the hip line in the back. And we're focusing in these first few moments just on lining up the heels with the center line of the body. And now think about taking your knees away from you and lengthening up through your spine from your heels. So that's why we need a lot of support from the strap. We want those heels staying together. And then we can start to spread the toes, start to open and spread the toes. Now you're focusing on breathing. You don't need to affirm. Yeah. So let's just focus on discovering the breath. The breath is where it's at. It will help everything. It starts to cleanse the mind of all thought, and the mind is able to take a back seat. So just inhale and feel that area underneath the collarbone lift. Dropping the lower ribs down. So as we inhale, lift that upper chest area right underneath the collarbone area. It's tough without poking those lower ribs. So it helps to drop the lower ribs down and then feel that pectoral chest start to lift. And we are also lifting through that pectoral chest on the exhale. So see if you can focus on pressing through your heels, feeling the spine get long without poking those lower ribs. And now take those knees down and away from each other. So we don't press the knees down. If we're working, we would work from the head of the femur bone because these muscles are already strained. So think about lengthening from the head of the femur bone along the top of the thighs, lift tall. So press those heels, lift the belly, lift the armpit chest, lift the sternum, feel the pectoral chest rise on both the inhale and the exhale as we settle in. Taking those knees away from each other. Working from the pelvic floor area. Letting the breath lift the pectoral chest, both the inhale and the exhale. So you can grab a strap. that strap. Really tighten it. That's it. Keeping it underneath the hip line in the back. Taking those knees away from you. Okay. You could sit higher because we want those knees in line with the hips. So yeah, sit on another block. Truly. And the beauty is you've got the wall right there. Yes, does it feel more apropos? Yes, thank you for following the advice to line the knee with the hip. And then you have a chance to take those knees away from you. So press through the heels. Press through the heels. Lift your belly if you can. So we are lifting through this area right underneath the collarbone called the pectoral chest. On both the inhale and the exhale, if you want to close your eyes, working from your heels, lifting the armpit chest, the sternum, that's the center of the chest, without poking those lower ribs out. See if you can draw those lower ribs in towards the back body, and then without poking those lower ribs out, lifting through the pectoral chest. Take those knees away from you. Maybe explore opening and spreading the toes wide. Chanting happiness, that's the mantra of this beautiful Sunday morning. To be happiness, understanding it's a choice. So letting the breath lead the effort now, letting the mind relax. The mind is not part of this equation. Looking for the mind's advice, so just treat the mind as a separate entity. You are not your mind, you are not your body. Choosing happiness, to be happiness. Feeling that spine get longer and longer. From the heels, using the breath. Feel the lift. Look for the light. So this is an essential pose for the hips. It's an essential pose to open the pelvic floor, the #1 disease center in North America for both genders. Lingering here is time well spent. But we're staying present with this effort by pressing through the heel. See if you can look for the back outer heel, lengthening your knees away from each other. So get those outer feet together, get the outsides of the feet together, especially those baby toe knuckles. And then we're opening someday those big toe knuckles away from each other like a book. See if you can take your hands just inside your big toes, inside your big toe knuckles. So you see how I've slid my hands to create a little bit of opening like a book? So we're joining the back outer feet from the back outer heel right up into the baby toe knuckle, opening those baby toe knuckles away from each other. Open and spread the toes. Open and spread the toes. Work for those toes. There's youth in those toes. And that fourth toe, widening that fourth toe away from the fifth toe, is a direct link into the groin. Direct link into the groin. So lengthen that fourth toe. Try and lengthen it. Lift through the pectoral chest. Suppress those heels. belly breath. Take those knees away from each other. So this pose is an essential pose in part because it profoundly affects the rest of your yoga poses. But we need those knees to start to drop down, and we need to lift and create length through the sides of the spine. Press those outer heels, open and spread those toes. Try and open and spread those toes.
Open.
And spread the toes. Open those toes.
Like this?
Yes. Yes. And then widen the toes away from each other.
Widen the toe like separate.
Yes. Yes. And feel how it lights up this whole area here. The more you open those toes, the more we start to feel that connection travel up through the deep front line of the hip. So the big toe knuckles are connected to the quadriceps. Think about lifting your kneecaps. So pull up through the kneecaps. Pull up through the kneecaps. Looking ridiculously happy. Good job, you guys. All right. So let's start to move on to another essential pose. Let's open that bar, just slide that bar away. And we're coming now into Virasana. So from Baddha Konasana into another essential pose, Virasana. And just untuck the toes, so we don't need the belt. Untuck your sits bones on your toes. Now try and have the knees looking neutral. So even though the knees need to be together, try and open those knees. So we do that by lifting the shin and rolling the knee out. Rolling the knee out. So rolling it this way, out.
Oh, sorry.
Out, yes, you got it. To keep the knees neutral. You got it. And we're creating space behind the backs of the sits bones. I like to do this right off the bat. Try and press through the tops of your ankles. So press down through the tops of the ankles. You can even pull the tops of the toes to lengthen through the shin, the top of the arch of the foot. Good. Good job. Exactly. So once we lengthen the tops of the feet, we have a chance to maybe take the fingers and spread those toes apart. So try to press those fingers down through the toes and ground them into the earth and widen them. And while you're doing so, bring your elbows together. So lift through that armpit chest, lift up without poking the lower ribs. Squeeze the inner shoulder blades together. And let's work on the breath here. So keep those lower ribs tucked in and under. And let's press through the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift through that pectoral chest. So press down to the tops of the ankles. Start to scoop your pelvis, lift your belly, lift the pectoral chest on both the inhale and the exhale. So press down to the tops of the ankles, spread the toes wide, create that sense of scooping your pelvis in and under, lift your belly, lift the armpit chest. Keep those shoulders back, keep those shoulders back. Take the time to squeeze the inner shoulder blades together.
What's that?
Now take the inner shoulder blades towards the outer shoulder blades. Now lift your back ribs up without poking the front lower ribs up. So lift the back ribs up and take them back. Good. So keeping exactly where you are, let's take the hands to the top of that right groin and thigh and lift that knee a little. See if you can lift that knee as you press down through the head of the femur bone. So grounding that thigh, think about pulling that right kneecap up as you lift the knee. Tuck your right sits bone in and under. Lift your belly. So actually lift the knee a little bit if you can. Lift it a little higher, Missy. Atta girl. So lift that knee a little higher. That's it. So this is time well spent. So feel that right sits bone, tucking in and under, gripping the block, whatever you're sitting on. So it's scooping in and under. Good job. Good. Let's release the right knee down. Let's take the hands on top of the left thigh, right at the top, and lift that left knee just ever so slightly. So press down first. Don't be in such a rush. And then gently start to refine that movement, lifting the left knee up. So we're scooping that left sits bone, lifting the belly. That's it. Opening that left knee a little. Exactly. So breathe deeply. Take some deep breaths. See if you can create a little movement in that upper chest area without lifting your shoulders. Breathe deeply. So draw those left ribs in and back. Top that left sits bone, lift that belly. So you can feel the action in the pelvic floor. You can feel it in the hips and groin area. Just focus on the breath. Feel that left thigh get longer and longer from the head of that left femur bone all the way along that left thigh. So bone is living tissue, and there are 7 layers of connective tissue to get to that bone. It's all living. When we see the bones hanging on the skeleton, we think of them as being static, but they are living and they morph for the better or for the worse. Using the strength, adhering the muscle to the bone to create change from the inside out. These refined movements are spectacular for the body. They turn the clock back. All right, let's release the left knee down. Now, you may or may not need a block. So just have a block nearby. Let's close the happy loop. We need a long loop. And then before we move on, take your right hand to your right and let's lift the left arm up and over. Yes. bone. Tuck that left sits bone, scoop it in and under, drag it over to the right. Lift the belly. Lift the belly. Good job, you guys. So drag that left sit bone all the way over to the right. Release on your next exhale. Inhale as we reach the right hand up and over. That's it. And on that exhale, tuck that right sits bone in and under. So we want it really scooping in and under, growing roots, and then trying to meet the left sits bone, its buddy. Because the two sits bones work together. They work together. So drag that right sits bone over to the left. Try not to poke out your right ribs. Try to drop the shoulder down. And create that action from that right sits bone, dragging it to the left. Good. Let's come on up. Gently release. And before we go here, because sometimes your knees might be sort of needing a bit of a break, take your hands. The best way to come out of your asana is to come into downward dog. So take your hands forward, spread your fingers, roll the creases of the inner elbows, leading with the hips, tuck your toes. That's it. So take your time to turn those toes in so that the outsides of the feet are parallel. Now take a look at your hands to make sure that they're symmetrically placed. Widen and open and spread those palms as wide as you can. So I look at my index, my middle fingers, and then drop those shoulders down, roll the creases of those inner elbows up towards the ceiling. It takes several goes. So drop the shoulders down more and more. Let your head drop. One day that head will come to the floor. And now pull up through that right kneecap and press that right heel down, that outer right heel down. And while you're there, so that outer right heel presses down, let's roll that inner right ankle out as we press as hard as you can through that outer right heel. Lifting through that right kneecap. Lift the hip of that right buttocks. Lift that right hip up, up, up. Lift the kneecap. So without letting go of that right side, let's do the same to the left. So make sure that outer left heel is out. Lift that left kneecap. Press that outer heel down. So those are the first few moments. And then roll that inner left ankle out as you press as hard as you can through that outer left heel. So the knees are open and neutral. Let's feel the inner thighs draw back. So pull your hips back through your inner thighs as you lengthen through the side body. So make some length in the side body by lengthening through the flank of the side ribs. Shoulders down, creases of the inner elbows, up, up, up. Lift your toes if you can. Roll those inner ankles out. Lift your hips up. Lift your kneecaps, so use your legs. It's all legs, downward dog. Let your head hang from your mid-thoracic spine. job. Let's release the knees down. Yay! Now you don't mind sitting back on that log. Good job. Good job.
Nice. That was
Fun, right?
yeah.
An enjoyable challenge.
Yes.
You know, I know they call it a resting pose, but that takes a while. The hamstrings certainly have to be open in order for it to be restful. So we're going to work on those hips and hamstrings some more. So you see I've got a block here, just in case you needed a block to rest your leg. Let's take the strap like so. So you're going to sit on a block, swing it around. That's it. So both sits bones have support. Take the second block or a bolster. So a bolster can also work. And here we go. Let's lift the leg. Now this is the hard part. Instead of wrapping, we bring the elbows in and start to work on lifting through that armpit chest, the sternum, the pectoral chest. Two hands, two hands. Two hands, elbows back. Good. Now number one, now we've got the starting position. Let's lift that right kneecap up. Two hands, elbows in, lift through the pectoral chest. That's it. It's not easy. Good, so try and look and lift your gaze just a little. Give me your gaze. Give me your gaze. There we go, yes. Good. Lift that kneecap. So this is the story of this pose. I'm in, I can't remember what year, teacher training in Germany, but I would just die on the flight over. It was usually 9 hours. My hip would just be killing me. It always happened. And so the last morning of the last day in Germany, two hands, elbows in, lift through the chest, lower ribs in, lift the kneecap up to the happy thigh. We all came into this pose. We were all lined up in the room. He was there. We were all lined up. And here we go into this pose. And this is, in my mind, it's Kranchasana, but most of us never get anywhere near the pose. So this is a good precursor. It really is. So we're lifting that kneecap. That's it. So we're using the strength of the thigh. The thigh's wrapping as tight as it can around the thigh. Open and spread your toes. Two hands, two hands. Yes, looking ridiculously happy. So I'm continuing with the story. And he says, we're all here, we're all lined up. And he says, so if you come out, you're done. You can't come back in. Let's see who is going to last the longest. So here we are. It's almost like a survivor. But lift your belly, lift your belly. Can you feel this sort of area happening here as well as the thigh working as hard as it can? Quadriceps are the heaviest that part of the body in terms of muscle groups. And the more you work them, the more calories you burn. Lift your belly. But there's a good thing about wrapping that thigh. Lift your kneecap. Yes. So that's where the strength is. Lift the belly. So at some point, we start to bring that forehead to the shin. If we're there. If we're not there, no worries. Lift that kneecap. Drop that right hip down. So if you had to release the leg down onto the bolster, you can do that to take a break, but I'd suggest trying to just look at this as an enjoyable challenge. Lifting that kneecap up. If you were to release the leg onto the bolster or block, just focus on lifting the kneecap up. That's the most important thing. Opening those toes if you can manage it. So the good news is, because I'm the teacher, I can decide when to come out, so when it's too much for me, I just come out. Yeah. So that's the benefit of your home practice, right? You can do what you want. Yeah. Okay, so we're not going to torture you guys, but we need to be here for a little bit, right? Feel that hip? So this is always fun. Take your left hand as far as you can, just grab the foot or the strap. Reach the right arm up, lift as tall as you can. So lift that right kneecap. That's it. Lift tall. And take your right hand back. Lift tall. Lift that armpit chest without poking the right ribs. Good job. Let's bring that hand forward. And now you can release the leg onto the block if we want. Good. Now flex that foot. So if you wanted to come down, if you felt you could come down, you can always explore this. I like to come down because I can manage it. And you can sit on a blanket or not. It's up to you. But let's just have your right hand to the side and take your left hand over your right foot. Bring your knee in. Yeah, so you're never stretching the knee, right? So if you start to feel your knee, sit a little bit higher. Maybe sit on a blanket, like so. Exactly. Good. And take your left hand to your outer right foot, and we're drawing that outer right foot in towards us. If you couldn't get the foot, you can either grab here or take a strap. But we want to drop the shoulder and lift through the armpit chest, lift that right kneecap. Feel as though you're drawing that right sits bone back and up. Lift the belly. Lift that kneecap. So take the back of that right thigh down. So I always like to say, because it's effort, there's work in this, there's no pill for this. But this is how you become a super senior. And these super seniors, they don't age, they're unbelievable. So make that right leg longer and longer if you can. And look at that fourth toe on that right foot. Do your best. Just talk to that toe and tell that toe to come back towards you, just even microscopically. So we feel that outer line of the body. It's very important. Okay, we're just going to take one more. Let's take a break here. Take your left hand here. And let's take the right hand over to the left. No, it's you that are killing you. I'm not doing anything. Lift that right kneecap. Make that right leg long. That's it. Good job. Do we do one more after this? Or do we go to the other side? Well, now that we've done the leg, let's come on up. So see what you can do here, just for fun. See if you can lift that leg. Just lift it. You could always take a strap. That's it. So you got strength. That's it. Walk the hands out, but lift. Lift that knee. Okay, don't something. Make your right leg long. As long as that left knee is A-okay. That's it. So remember when I said one day we bring that shin to the forehead in our next life. One day. Oh, yes. So make that right leg long, let that right hip drop. All right. I don't know if I can bear the look on your face anymore.
This is killing me, this class.
All right, let's
I'm
take
killing me, this.
the right leg down. Okay, one more. Let's bring the left foot forward. Bring your left foot forward. Good. And just hug your left thigh. And lift tall. And make that right leg long again. That's it. Good job. So get those left ribs as close to that left thigh as you can just by lifting up. Alrighty guys. Let's straighten that left leg. Just take a moment and fold forward, just grab your feet happily. Just taking an easy Paschimottanasana, pressing the backs of the thighs down, lifting the kneecaps. Make your heels wide. Bottom of your heels wide. Try and drop your heels down so they're touching the floor. That's it. And then lifting up before we thank God there's only two sides. Alright, let's gently come back onto the block into Virasana. And just in case you need that block or that rest, so let's remove the fleshy part so that the sit bones can feel the grip of the earth as it scoops in and under. Let's take that strap around the ball of the left foot. Bring those elbows in. Your hips will thank you. Your hips will really thank you. Yeah. And I was wondering, what did they do 100 years ago when there was no hip replacements? What did they do? Because everybody I know is, once they hit 70, they're in line for, and I'm like, since when did 70 become this disaster for the pelvis, for the pelvic floor? And this area here, unfortunately, directly relates to the upper chest. Anyway, the point of my story was that when we did this pose that morning, when I flew home, I had no hip pain for the entire flight. I was like, wow! And I thought, to stay in the game as long as I could, as long as my leg and thigh and hip would allow. And the payoff was I had a very enjoyable flight home. So this became part of my repertoire for, many years. So try and have the shoulder blades drawn back. That's it. Squeeze your inner shoulder blades together. Yes. Just in case, because I feel there's wobbliness here. Yes, just do that. Does that help? couldn't sit up, I couldn't get into the pose. I remember it was one of those really frustrating things. And it just turned out to be that I didn't have enough support underneath one of my sit bones. So I had no balance. So we're looking ridiculously happy, lifting through not just the armpit, chest, and the sternum, but we're dropping the lower ribs and trying to lift through that pectoral area of the chest, right beneath the collarbone area. Hard work, right? Open and spread the toes. So we have to keep an eye on the fact that we want to do the left side for the same length of time as the right. If you have a bad right hip, you want to spend more time on that right hip and vice versa. So lift that left kneecap, lift it to the upper thigh, so that the quadricep muscle isn't just dense, that it actually has some true strength. Yeah, you're experiencing what I experienced. That year I went to, it was actually again in New Orleans, and this 80-year-old woman, we did back bends, which are really tough. They require a lot of leg strength. And she does like 30 in a row, bang, bang, bang. I'm done on number 4 or 5. So I followed her out like a little missed stalker, and I said, "May I ask you a question? You must do back bends every day." And she says, "Oh no, dear. I just married a younger man, and we go hiking all the time." Again, quadricep strength. They go rock climbing, and hiking. And I'm like, that's why this woman is so young and agile. She's truly strong. Not just running around the block mindlessly. Yes. Okay, we're almost there. Almost drop the hip. Let the hip have a little spot. Lift the belly up to the thigh. Lift everything up. Let's take the strap into the left hand, reach your right hand up towards that foot. So you can either grab the strap or the other foot, but you don't want to bend the knee, right? And then let's drop the shoulders, lift the arm. Lift up. Lift up. So arm straight, honey. Arm straight. Right arm straight. Yes. No, that's not straight. That's it. You want the hand as close to the foot as you can get it. With the arm straight, and draw the shoulder back, lift the armpit chest, and then take your left arm back, or up. Well, you can walk your arm up. We can go back.
Walk it up.
Yeah. That's it. Yes. And then drop that hip. Yes, nice job. So you feel that left side now, right? Yeah. Beautiful. Alright, let's take that hand forward and release the leg. So at this point, if you wanted to come down, you could. If you were to take a little bit of support, you can do that, like so. Good. And let's take that right hand to that outer left foot. You got it. So just so you can, you got it, nicely done. So as much support as you can. Yeah, you know what, you need a little bit more support underneath that left hip. Double it up. So that the hips are roughly on the same axis. You got it. Let's see how we go here. Yes. Same technique. Yes. Right hand to the left thigh. Left foot. So drop the shoulder and try and lift up. Now if you feel too much pressure in the back of that knee, you're not pressing the back of the knee down, you're pressing the back of the thigh down. If you need some support underneath that knee, take some support because you don't want to over hyperextend back the knee. You're just pressing the back of the left thigh down, lifting the left kneecap up, lifting the pectoral chest. Breathe deeply, full body breaths. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Hips and hamstrings will save your lower back. Good job. Let's slowly come up. So we came over to the side now. Right hand, right lateral, keeping that right foot nicely in and under. Right hand to the floor. Over we go. Walk your hand out to the side. There we go. Got it. Try and drop the lowest ribs in and then lift through the chest. Try and drag your sits bones down in and under. Lift the belly. Drop that left hip, that's it. And then lift the pectoral chest, use your breath only. Let's come on up. So here we are, the full Monty, just for a moment. So take your leg, you can stay here if you want. So press to the back of the thigh, that's it, and then lift your belly. And then you can see, slowly over time, you can grab the leg, lift the left kneecap. That's it. Lift the kneecap, lift the upper thigh. Feel good about your practice afterwards. My teacher, he has coached famous soccer teams, and he teaches them, you give it all, and then once the game is over, don't look back. Okay, and then slowly release the leg down. Oh, do you have a cramp?
No.
Okay, and then lift this knee up. And hug the thigh into the chest. Lift up. So we're joining the ribs to the thigh. Sitting tall. So sit tall, nice and tall. Left hand down and just reach your right arm up and take your right hand to your left foot. That's it. Press that right foot down, draw the knee in. That's it. So feel the movement through that right side body body. That's where your liver, spleen, pancreas are. And it is an area that needs more movement, more circulation. It's a very unforgiving disease center. So you just want to keep it away by, again, creating a little movement and circulation and muscle action. So think about lifting through that armpit chest on the right side, lengthening from the right hip to the right underarm, dropping the shoulder down, pressing that foot down. Good. And let's drop that right knee down. And just fold forward. Just fold forward. Take both hands to that left foot. Lift the belly up and over the thigh. There we go. I feel you're all making some headway here. Take the back of that left thigh down. Lift your belly up and over that left thigh. Try and think about opening that right foot. Exactly. Opening that right foot. And then making the back of that left heel wide as you lift through the left kneecap. Now make that left leg long, longer and longer. So when we fold forward, the ribs hit that thigh first. So that's how you know you're going in the right direction. You know what? Like so. So it's the armpit chest that's leading, the pectoral chest, so that those lower ribs come down first. And then slowly release. Lift your right knee up, straighten that leg. Let's bend the left leg. So if the knee is bothering you, giving it a little tiny light massage. The kneecap moves very nicely, and when it's healthy, it will move up and down and from side to side, nice and gently. It floats. And if you see that there's a direction where the kneecap resists, and you want to work in that area, it's usually an indication that the ligaments in the back are becoming close. So we create space in the back. That's where balance comes from, in the back of the knee. Let's take the left hand forward. So again, think about lifting up, pressing the back of the right thigh down. Pressing that left foot into the floor. So there's so many gifts around us. These little tools like the floor creates great resistance. So press that left foot down. That's it. Open those left toes is never a bad idea. Exactly. And now we're getting into the left side of the body. And since the two sides don't match, on the inside, I don't know why they should feel the same on the outside. So lift from that left heel. Lift tall. Dropping the left hip, lifting the left side of that pectoral chest, the crease of the armpit chest. Dropping the shoulder, maybe even rolling the crease of that left elbow up as you come forward. So breathe, breathe, breathe. It's time Time well spent. So you can see how if this area is tight, it impacts the upper chest. You can feel it. Then you see how people's shoulder blades are starting to lift and wane. They move away and then the shoulders roll forward. So this is hard work. It just is. It's hard work. All right, let's gently release. Drop that left knee down. So we're centering the belly as best we can over that right thigh, and then lift and grab that foot. That's it. Lift tall without poking those lower ribs. Reach, reach, reach. So strength can be a real asset. So if you had somebody pulling you forward, if we were to press into each other's heels and grab each other, we would feel that you want to drop the back of that right thigh down, lift the kneecap, and then grab wherever you can. Try to lead with this crease of the armpit chest. Press the back of the right thigh down. And then one day you hope that your ribs will touch that thigh as we fold in half. So the more you work the lower half of the body, thinking about lifting that right kneecap, joining it to the upper thigh, pressing the back of the right thigh down, spreading to the base of that right heel as you draw the baby toes towards you. Lifting your belly and then eventually hinging from this right hip as you fold. Good job. All right, let's gently release. Let's bring the right foot to meet the left. Let's take the hands behind, so no height. Just lift your buttocks. Yes, and press through your heels. Drop your knees away from you. Try and take your knees away from you. Take your knees away. That's it. So reach your nose forward and up, forward and up. That's it. Press those knees away from you. And then release your buttocks, take your elbows forward, hands to the feet, lift the nose. So press, take your knees away from you. So remember, this is an essential pose. Lift that nose up and forward, elbows in front. So use the elbows, shoulders down, and lift and lengthen that belly. Lift and lengthen the whole front of the torso. Pressing through your heels. Don't break anything. Okay, just for fun, just for a moment here, okay? So this is a bit tricky, I know. So roll over to the right, right elbow in front, bring the entire, that's it. Now sometimes it helps to bring a bolster like so, but have most of that bolster behind you. So grab your bolster, bring the elbow in front, and then lean on the bolster. That's it. That's it. Now take that left knee away from you. Take that left knee down. It's a sweet thing.
Yeah.
Not you, sorry. the other sweet thing, take that bolster. The only thing is it's a very big bolster. If you had your rolled up blanket, that might be good. Grab your blanket behind. Just so that you can let go. Because you're kind of hanging in midair. So you want to fill that space. Exactly. Yes, that girl. Elbow in front. Now roll right onto the right. See if you can drop that shoulder down. That's it. So it's a twist as you look up to the sky. So you see how the weight really has to be on that right thigh. Look up to the sky. Take that left knee away from you. Take your left knee down to the floor. Gently come on up. Let's come over to the other side. So the majority of the bolster is behind, exactly. So that we can bring the left elbow forward, roll over to that left side, completely support. So you see how the space, sweetheart, I can see there's space underneath your left arm. So you need to double it, triple it. And then we're looking up towards the skies with twist, taking that right knee down. It's a bit tricky, right, this one? So let me just suggest So by supporting the head, now focus on taking that knee down. That's it. So it's a twist. Taking that right knee down. Tuck that left sits bone in and under. Take the right knee away from you. Gently come up here. Is that a little better? Cross your ankles. So in case let's just take the forward bend Uttanasana against the wall so there's no Chikasana. So tuck your toes and walk your feet in towards the wall. Number one, have those outer feet parallel. So turn your toes in. Have your legs against the wall. And if you need blocks, use your blocks. Otherwise, let's fold from the crease of the hip. Let your head hang from your mid-thoracic spine. And let's press the backs of those thighs to the wall. So drop your shoulders and lift your kneecaps. Outer feet parallel. So to keep the knees safe, even though we're rolling those inner thighs together and back in Uttanasana, we want to make sure that we don't collapse in the arch of the foot and let the knees roll in. So roll your inner ankles out, press hard through your outer heels to get those knees completely neutral, lifting the kneecaps up to the thighs, press the backs of the thighs into the wall, inner thighs back. So the knees don't roll in, just the inner thighs. So roll your inner ankles out. Lift those kneecaps, lift your belly. See if you can fold a little further forward. Let your head hang from your mid-thoracic spine. So the beauty is that the hips are nicely aligned over the knees. The knees are nicely aligned over the heels and ankles. There's no hanging out of the ligaments. Good job. Let's drop the knees down. All right. So we're doing a quadricep stretch. So this is important. Take that knee blanket, creases on the outside, right up to the wall, right to the wall. Blocks here, like so. And then take your right knee to the wall. So you see how high my knee is? And lift the knee up. So put that right to the wall. Excellent. Yes. Knee to the wall. Have your blocks nearby. 2 blocks underneath your hands. Here we go. And then bring that knee down nice and close to the wall. That's it. Good. So here we are. Let's step the left foot forward. Good. So if you can come up, come on up. And you can reach your arms here and walk your arms up. So open your foot so it's on the outside of that right hip. So that right foot is on the outside of the hip, sweetheart. Otherwise the hip won't come to the wall. Exactly. So we're working toward getting the hips in towards the wall. Not that I'm anywhere near, but you're tucking your pelvis here. Lift through the armpit chest. So all that discussion about not poking out the lower ribs. Inhaling and exhaling through the pectoral chest, thighs. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Tuck, tuck, tuck the pelvis. Tuck that right side. Lift that right kneecap up to the thigh. Drop the lower ribs down. So feel how that thigh gets tighter and tighter, right at the head of the femur bone. As you scoop and unite, this whole area starts to come together more and more. You start to join. So that's the meaning of yoga, union, to join, to yoke. So the longer we linger, the more we work toward uniting everything together so that you feel like everything is playing a part. This is the ultimate togetherness, is yoga. Gently take your hands down, blocks, bring your left knee down, then your right knee forward. Otherwise you will walk on your right knee and you don't want to walk on that knee, it's just an inclination. Good job. So we get a nice little stretch, we're again in a back bend. It looks like easy stuff, but it's intense, I know. So this is why in our workshops we get a good 3 or 4 hour break, because people are absolutely spent. And then they have the afternoon and then they have the evening. And they have to review everything we did. So take your left knee up to the wall. That's it, slide it gently down so you're forward. Let's bring the right knee forward. That's it. Right foot forward. If you can, come on up. ribs and take the hips towards the wall. You guys are really good. So you want to draw that right hip back as well and drop the right sits bone down as you lift the left kneecap, lift the upper thigh. Breathe deeply, full body breaths. Lift your belly. Lift and tuck, lift and tuck. Dropping the right hip down if you can. Very nicely done, everybody. Just a few more moments. Just lingering. Looking ridiculously happy. Approaching it as an enjoyable challenge. That's where the mental part of things comes in. And teacher suggests, if you have a pain, drawing a boundary around that pain, noticing how the mind will resist that boundary, and then breathe into the center of that boundary. Breathe into that pain. Making that boundary smaller and smaller over time. Collapsing the boundary, reducing, releasing the pain. Okay, gently coming out. So bring your hands to the blocks. Bring your right knee down, left knee forward. Good job. Okay, so here we are, just for some fun. Now, I used to show this pose, Supta Virasana, artist Supta Virasana, with very high blocks, but my teacher said in this last workshop, you gotta start to take those blocks away, otherwise you'll never get down, and he's right. I've been in the same place for 20 years. So just do what you can. That would be a good start for me. Maybe see if you want to start here, or even a bolster. You can use a bolster as well, my dear. That's it. And then coming way forward here. So this is one of my nemesis. It's a tough one, there's no doubt about it, okay? Good. Let's bring the left knee forward. Left knee forward. Now lift your knee out. So bring your hands to the floor and lift your knee out. And see if you can come back down. So you might run into things, you might want to come forward a little further. See, like so. So this is still too high. And then we want to start to take that knee down to the floor. So I can come down lower. So maybe you too, my dear, see if you can come a little lower on this first block. Yeah. So if you have excruciating pain in the foot, you can always put something in. So let's take you up a bit. Okay, hang on. Let's just come on down for a moment. Just feel it above your head. Yes. And now you can work from there. Good job. And now just think about, very nice, so your knee is nice and placed. Now try to take that knee down. That's it. Using this foot as a driver. Very nice. Yes. Oops. So let's see if we can try it. There we go. Try that. Hold on. Good. Now I should go direct. You want to think about lifting here with your breath. Dropping those ribs. Tucking the pelvis, lengthening that thigh. Drop your lower ribs down, darling. Yeah, lower ribs down. Lengthening that right knee. So we're decreasing the space behind those lower ribs, behind that mid-thoracic area. It's hard to do, so we're dropping the lower ribs in the front, we're scooping the pelvis in and under, dropping that back body down over time, lengthening that thigh. Breathe deeply, everybody. Full body rest, tuck your pelvis. So this left leg is the driver. That's why we don't want to straighten that left leg. We want to use that left leg to help scooping the pelvis and dropping that back body down to the floor. Enjoying your breath as you lift through that pectoral chest, drop those lower ribs. So we're dropping the hips, dropping the buttocks without poking those lower ribs. So this is Ardha Supta Virasana. Let's work towards slowly coming out now. So just gently lifting your knee up. And be careful coming out, keep the shape. Thank you, very nice. So we keep that leg joined together to take the knee forward. Ah, beautiful. Good. So let's try the other side. So take that left knee in and under, foot in and under, right foot forward, and let's come down. Assistance. Yeah. Scooch forward. Yeah. Come forward as much as you can. There we go. Good. Yes. And start to lean back. Dropping this down, so eventually you would lower this down, right? So that you can drop down. Think about this. Yeah, and using the leg, the right leg is the driver, to lengthen that left knee in and down. In and down. The further you come down, the better, but you want to do your best to keep that space minimal in the back body. So tucking, scooping the pelvis, dropping the lower ribs. Lengthening this left thigh without letting the knee fly out to the side. Just another few breaths here. And let's gently start to come out here because we're going to do, so when you lift your head, always look from the top of the sternum. We're going to finish with the back bend. So this is how we can set up. If you need a little opening for your upper chest, which most of us do, I like to have blocks. Because back bends are, again, they're about legs. So that's why we've been working so hard to open the quadriceps, to open those legs. If you need a little height, do you have enough space in between those blocks for the head? Yes, so bring those blocks closer together, good, good. And then have your bolster like so. So the higher the bolster, the easier it is, right? Because you're already got your hips halfway up. But remember, this is about legs. So let's go. I'm not very warm either. So we just give it a shot, right? So move your bolster away from the wall so there's a bit of space for your head. And then you see how I lie back like so? Okay. And then it's legs. So we press and lift. Press, so see the legs? So give it a shot, everybody. See if you can lift from your legs. Press your heels. Give it a shot. Drop your shoulders. And use your legs to open your front. Bringing the chest towards the wall eventually. That's the direction of the armpit chest, is to come in towards the wall. So drop your shoulders. And then when you're ready, come on down. If you'd like to try a second one, you're welcome. They say doing back bends in threes is a good idea. But we are holding a little longer. Do you want to try again? Or you're...
Oh, yeah, sure.
Give it another shot. Just go one more time, guys. Okay, so just think about what you could do to improve things. I feel like I can be a little bit more meticulous with the blocks centered around that line. Remember, it's all legs. Good job. So lift your head. That's it. Now use your legs, sweetheart, to bring your chest into the wall. Very nice. Good job, guys. Drop your shoulders, use your legs, eventually straightening those legs to bring the chest towards the wall. And then when you're done, come on down. Good job, yes. So when you're done, move your bolster off to the side. So lifting through the top of the sternum when you lift up. And then let's take a break and drop the thighs into the chest. Good job. So you can all see why I laughed when this woman did 30 back bends, right? 30. She was a super senior. Take your hands to your thighs and just rock from side to side here. Releasing through your lower back. Releasing through your hips. Let's take the arms out to the T position. Just drop your knees over to the left. Bring your left hand on top of your right thigh. Inhale, lift your chest away from the hips. Squeeze your inner thighs together. And on that exhale, gently gaze to the right. Keep your chin above your sternum. right hand on top of your left thigh. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Inhale, lift your chest away from your hips. And on your exhale, gaze to the left. Try to breathe if you can. Take those left ribs on the top down in towards the right ribs. Release that right hand, gently lift your legs up through center here. Now grab a block, so there should be a block overhead. And we're just taking the block on the lowest level underneath the sacrum. And take a moment here and just tuck your shoulder blades in and under. So you see how I really scooped the outer arms as much as I could, tucking them in and under to open that upper chest. Extend the legs long, bring your feet together, reach through your heels. So drop those lower ribs down if you can, and feel the chest lift, not the lower ribs. Feel the breath lift that pectoral chest area, make your legs longer and longer. So draw your toes towards your shins, reach through your heels, drop your lower ribs towards your hips. Take the backs of your thighs down if you can. Make your right leg longer than your left leg. So lift through that right kneecap. Spread through the back of that right kneecap. Make that right leg long. So without losing the right leg, let's make the left leg as long as the right. So reach and inch that left leg a little bit longer. Taking the back of the left thigh down, lifting through that left kneecap. Make the left leg long. So hearing those muscles to roll, wrapping those thighs tightly around the bone. So the muscles adhere to the bone. Drop your lower ribs if you can. Think about just lifting that pectoral chest area, that area right underneath the collarbone. Okay, let's gently bend the legs. Good job. And just bring your feet together and drop your knees wide. Press your heels together, take your knees away from each other. So take your knees buttocks, remove the block. And just walk your hands in towards your heels and press through your feet. Lift your hips. Feel your outer buttocks, cheeks draw in and under. Roll your inner ankles out. You don't want your knees rolling in. You're just pressing and lifting your chest. So it's important here to lift that armpit chest on both parts of the breath. Let's release the hips down. Draw your knees into your chest just for a moment. And take your blanket underneath the back of your head. And just extend the legs long so they don't go so wide. The toes and feet just turn out to the sides. We tuck the shoulder blades in and under. So try to recall that muscle memory of scooping those shoulders in and under so the insides of the shoulder blades almost meet. And the palms are turning up so you can feel the middle hand knuckles on the floor. Let's all take a deep inhale here and just release and let go on that exhale. Take a few deep inhales and release through the exhale, feeling the body let go of whatever it no longer needs. Then releasing the breath, let's allow the eyelids to be heavy as the eyes fall back and down. Softening through the innermost corner of those eyes. Let's relax the cheek muscles. And now releasing and softening through the innermost corner of the ears. Allow the mind to be still now with the body. Move the fingers and the toes. And take your hands to your belly as you start to deepen your breath. Draw your thighs to your chest and come over to your right or to your left, making your way up. Bring the hands to prayer and just close the eyes. Take a moment now and thank yourself for the effort. We have to usually put through quite an effort in order to go through the process to get to the other side. So thank yourself for the effort. And let me thank you for allowing me to guide you. Namaste.
Namaste.